Imagine wearing your job title like a turban, visible, proud, and impossible to hide. Today, we're exploring how ancient Sikh wisdom offers surprising insights for modern leaders carrying visible responsibilities.
That's such a powerful analogy. In Sikh tradition, the turban isn't just a religious symbol, it's a daily declaration of identity and accountability.
Wait, so it's like a constant reminder of responsibility?
Exactly. When you wear a turban, every action reflects not just on you, but on your entire community. It's remarkably similar to how executive titles work in corporate settings.
That's fascinating. Can you break down that parallel a bit more?
Think about a CFO, for instance. That title, like a turban, is a visible standard that represents alignment with truth and integrity, in this case, fiscal truth and organizational integrity.
So both carry this weight of public accountability?
Precisely. And here's where it gets interesting. Both can make it harder to be vulnerable.
Really? How so?
Well, when you're wearing a visible symbol of authority or identity, there's often this pressure to appear perfect, to never show weakness.
That must create quite a burden.
It can. But here's where Sikh wisdom offers a beautiful counterpoint. It actually honors vulnerability as a strength.
That seems counterintuitive. How does that work?
The Sikh tradition teaches that true dignity comes not from being perfect, but from walking in grace through imperfection.
So it's about how you handle the challenges rather than avoiding them?
Exactly. There's this beautiful concept called Chardi Kala, the ever-rising spirit. It's about meeting adversity with grounded optimism.
That sounds powerful. How does it translate to leadership?
For a leader under scrutiny, it means choosing hope not as denial, but as discipline. It transforms pressure into purpose.
Can you give an example of what that looks like in practice?
Think of a CFO during a financial crisis. Instead of hiding behind bravado, they move forward with quiet resolve, acknowledging challenges while maintaining hope.
That's quite different from the typical never show weakness corporate mindset.
And there's another fascinating concept that applies here, the Sant Sipahi or Sant Soldier ideal.
Saint Soldier? That's an interesting combination.
It's about balancing inner discipline with external action, courage with compassion. It's perfect for modern leadership.
How does that balance work in practice?
It means knowing when to act decisively and when to pause and reflect. It's about discernment rather than domination.
That brings up an interesting point about stillness in leadership.
Yes. In Sikh practice, there's this concept called Nam Simran, meditative remembrance. It's seen as a source of clarity and strength.
But isn't stillness often seen as weakness in corporate settings?
That's the common misconception. But for leaders under constant pressure, creating space for stillness isn't optional, it's vital.
So it's actually a source of power?
Absolutely. It enables presence, patience, and clarity, arguably the most powerful forms of leadership.
Let's talk about identity integration. How do these principles help with that?
There's this beautiful concept called Ik Onkar, the oneness of all creation. It teaches that spiritual life and worldly life aren't separate.
So you don't have to leave your values at the door?
Exactly. Sikhism honors the Grihastha path, carrying out sacred duty within society, not in retreat from it.
That must be empowering for leaders struggling with authenticity.
It gives permission to bring your whole self, values, lineage, faith into every decision.
You mentioned something earlier about transforming pressure. Can we dig deeper into that?
There's a beautiful quote from Guru Nanak that speaks to this. Even kings and emperors with vast dominion cannot compare with an ant filled with the love of God.
What does that mean for modern leaders?
It reminds us that true power comes from alignment with higher principles, not just position or title.
That's quite profound. How does this translate to daily leadership challenges?
It means showing up with both pride and precision, but also with openness. Your visible role becomes a reminder of service rather than status.
And when that role is challenged?
That's when these principles become most valuable. You realize you're not your role, but you are responsible for how you show up in it.
Let's talk about practical application. How can leaders start implementing these ideas?
Start with the concept of savor, selfless service. Ask yourself, how does my leadership serve others beyond just meeting targets?
That's a powerful reframe of leadership responsibility.
And it naturally leads to more authentic decision-making. When service is your foundation, many leadership dilemmas become clearer.
What about handling criticism or public scrutiny?
This is where the concept of Chardi Kala really shines, maintaining optimism not as naive hope, but as a conscious choice.
It sounds like there's a lot of internal work involved.
Yes, and that's why the practice of Nam Simran, taking time for reflection and grounding, is so crucial.
How do you recommend leaders start incorporating these practices?
Begin with small moments of stillness. Before big decisions, take time to align with your values. Let your visible role remind you of service.
And what about the fear of appearing vulnerable?
Remember that Sikh wisdom teaches us that vulnerability and strength aren't opposites, they're partners in authentic leadership.
That's such a powerful perspective shift.
And it's particularly relevant in today's world where leaders face unprecedented visibility and scrutiny.
As we wrap up, what's the key message leaders should take away?
That your visible role, your professional turban, isn't a burden to bear, but a reminder to lead with both strength and grace.
And to embrace vulnerability as part of that strength?
Exactly. When rooted in purpose, pride and vulnerability aren't opposites, they dance together.
This has been incredibly insightful. Any final thoughts?
Remember that, like a turban, your leadership role is both a privilege and a responsibility. Wear it with pride, humility, and purpose.
Thank you for sharing these timeless insights. Until next time, lead with both strength and grace.